We got DJ Premier. What's going on, cool man? What's up?
How you?
I'm doing all right, man. I was just talking to the people that are in the room. You know, people keep coming in the room about the Lil Jon and T-Pain battle. I need to get refreshing on it. I didn't watch it live, so I know it's different. But I know when we put the poll on the page, people were saying that T-Pain beat Lil Jon out. And when we posted those results, obviously, you know, people were saying like, yo, which one did y'all watch? Jon smoked him. So.
Sorry, Mike, I'm coming.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Fatherhood's on too.
Yes, I'm just sitting here.
It's a little red wine tonight. I'm taking it easy.
Red wine tonight. Good, good. Well, I went ahead and did an old fashioned tonight. You know, I was just gonna pour it up, and I was like, you know what? I got all the materials here, and I remember you had an old fashioned last time we spoke, so I was like, let me do it.
Okay, Mike, give me 2 seconds.
2 seconds. That is cool. Do your thing, man. But yes, who do y'all think won the Lil Jon and T-Pain battle? And do we need to possibly see Just Blaze step into the ring? Because Just Blaze is, I think Just Blaze could take on Swiss. I think that'd be a decent matchup. What are y'all thinking?
All right.
All right.
My bad.
Hey, man, everybody's in the house, quarantined up. Everybody safe?
Yeah. We had to get her another Band-Aid. She had a little fender bender earlier, so.
It happens, man. So
yeah. Part of the plan.
But yeah, man, I was just talking about the beat battles that have been happening before we lead up to the one that everybody is really anticipating, man. We didn't think this one was going to happen.
I mean, you know, it's funny. I was actually going to say, you and I talked and I said this. I was like, you know, in this beat battle thing, I was like, for me, it was like just early on looking at it, I was like, there's Dre and Premier, and I believe I said this too. I was like, the only people I think I can get that can get in on them is RZA or Just Blaze. And then so when you sent me that, I was like, But I actually have something for you. You know, like I went through a lot of stuff today, and of course it was mostly like Primo and RZA stuff.
Okay.
A lot of stuff really stuck out to me. If this were like a bracket challenge and I was seeding it off, I would actually put RZA as the #1 seed after everything that I went through today.
Explain that. Why?
I mean, you know, I want to say something. Like, first of all, he has enough high-level production just on Cuban Links, Liquid Swords, and Iron Man to fade anybody. Like, those 3 albums alone, the production on those 3 albums, like the just beat selection, I mean, it's like, it's take your pick. I mean, I haven't went through the Wu-Tang Files like steady like that in a while, and I was a big fan, and I still am. You know, Wu-Tang's for the kids, but
Wu-Tang forever.
Yeah, I was struck really hard at like just how masterful the tracks were that he produced. I mean, he's got about 30-40 hitters right there, where if you're picking the best 15 of those, he could damn near take anybody's food with those. It's like when I went through Primo's stuff, Primo's done a whole lot more work than RZA, and RZA has a very extensive catalog. A lot of more obscure offerings a lot of people don't know about. And I think Primo may have what's called like haymakers, you know, like one of those Mike Tyson uppercuts or like Joe Frazier hooks. But RZA's got so much to pull from that's like classic songs with classic intros and like classic deliveries, because you get like 1:15 seconds, right?
Yeah, something like that. I know they do 20 songs, and I know we're probably going to be just keeping score, right? So we're going to be like, it really matters who goes first, obviously, who goes second, because I think the person that goes first is kind of at a disadvantage, right? Because now you got that person able to answer.
I think Primo's at a disadvantage. I think Primo's at a disadvantage if he goes first, not RZA. That was one of my takeaways from this that was really striking to me. Like if Primo goes first, there could be a little bit of trouble ahead. Because here was my real takeaway. If you take away the Big J and Nas offerings out of Primo's beat catalog, this is really RZA all day. And those records, whichever one he chooses to freak or how to freak them, the J, Big, and Nas records are what's going to carry him against RZA. Like, He needs those records. He needs those records against RZA. Like, that's what I'm saying.
I think he got some sleeper records.
Yeah.
Right. My bad, not to interrupt, but yeah, I think he has some sleeper records. What do you think is is Premier's haymaker? Is it Mass Appeal? Because we know RZA has Cream. That's going to be an ultimate one. I think Ice Cream's going to be a big one too. Incarcerated Scarface is going to be a haymaker. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You made a list.
I made a list of both guys. Hold on.
Okay.
So I got a couple things I want to go through right quick. First of all, like Mass Appeal is very valid. Here's something I want to like say about Preem right quick. Preem production credits roll back to about 87, 88 when he first got started. So but from 93 to 99, I want you to listen to all the cats that Primo did tracks for. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, KRS-One, Slick Rick, Rod Digger, M.O.P., Queen Latifah, Nas, Biggie, Jay, Royce the 5'9", Method Man, Mos Def, Janet Jackson, Snoop Dogg, Fat Joe, Buckshot, Guru, J. Rue the Damager, Bahamadia. He did one of the tracks off Mobb Deep's first album, Juvenile Hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
It was the lead single, I think, right?
Songs on there. One of the records that he did was one of the records, though. And, of course, the Christina Aguilera record. Like, that's in a 6-year span. He did, like, all of that. And so, like, I'm not understating it. But when I took the big Nas and Jay out, I got extremely worried.
I don't think he's going to play the Christina Aguilera song. No. I don't think.
I mean, you and I mean, like I said, that In Together Limp Bizkit record is a pretty, like, I went and listened to that.
I would like to hear that.
Yeah, that beat's hard.
Especially since Method Man is on there.
Like, that Method is pretty dope, too. That's what I'm saying.
So, and Method Man wrote that Premier track pretty dope. I'm almost certain that he's going to play that with Method Man on there.
I think that he should, because how about this? RZA has just so many joints that he can hit you with, and you don't know where it's come from, but it might drive people crazy. Like, they're like, I was going through some of the beats today, and like, yeah. So I think, like,
I'll tell you what, if he plays Woo Wear, I'm gonna go crazy. Now I don't think he's gonna play that.
That's the tracks that I had written down as a sleeper when I did RZA. Yeah, I had Woo Wear down as like kind of the sleeper pick. Now here's something if you want to nitpick, because here's how nitpicky I got. I didn't count any Premier tracks that got co-produced, so like the stuff that he did with Dre. I didn't count some of the early stuff that he had done. Like, I didn't do like a Watch What You Say, Guru co-produced, so I didn't do that either. But here's the thing with RZA, though. Method Man has a production credit on Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. And B has a production credit, a co-production credit on Chess Boxing. And on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, the intro you were talking about, that's not just RZA, that's Kanye and No ID. So for me, I wouldn't take those 3 beats in a battle because those are co-produced tracks.
We see that from the Scott Storch battle, they don't care about that stuff. But I care too. And you know what? Let's go back, because have we talked about the Scott Storch and Manny Fresh thing?
I mean, no. I think we've talked about it, but I don't know if we've talked about it live. No.
I don't think that that's fair, that Scott Storch is able to use records that he had co-produced by Dr. Dre and Timberland.
A lot of help.
Especially against Manny. We know Manny had no help.
Yeah, he lost too.
Yeah, he did lose. He did lose. I think he would have lost even.
That's why we got to take the help out though. No co-production credits.
Yeah, I think they got to set those rules again, because who's over this? Swizz and Timberland?
I think Swizz and Timberland one got it jumping off.
Swizz doesn't really have a lot of help, but a lot of Timberland's notable records that came in the 2000s, he had help.
Pray tell. Pray tell.
With Dodger Hands, like all that stuff that he did with Justin Timberlake and Nelly Furtado.
I didn't know how deep of a hand that they had in that machine at the time. Like, I was always a Timberland guy, but I probably didn't go study him as hard as a lot of other people from the era did. But I did really enjoy like his music. But I'm gonna tell you what, I love Timberland's R&B stuff more than his rap stuff. I guess that's kind of why I never tricked. Like, I know all his like production credits for like Aaliyah and Genuine and like all the smaller acts him and Missy did when they were having their run. I love those records.
I'll tell you what, when it comes to a man in the beat machine or whatever, ain't nobody messing with Timberland. Like, with his handwork and, you know what I'm saying, like him putting up sounds together.
Dirt off your shoulders, yeah.
When he's putting sounds together, ain't nobody messing with Timberland.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like people getting loops and samples and you know, just making things full, I think where Timberland is short at And I think that's what Danger Hands was able to come in and expand what he was doing. Like on the R&B level, he made those chords more full. Where Timberland's music before was a little bit more narrow when it was just him and Missy. But you could tell the difference between that Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake stuff and the way I are.
It's stadium music. It's the same thing as like when Kanye started working with John Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Made it more of a stadium flow with it. Yeah.
Now, what do you think if Just Blaze and Swiss Beats were to go into a head-to-head track-for-track battle? I just put that post up on According to Hip Hop.
Man, I told you, man. I think everybody's in trouble in regards to Justin RZA, except for Primo and Dre. And I mean, I think Preem's in a little bit of trouble. I mean, like for me, this is the first time I kind of feel the way about Primo right now that you were making me feel about Slick Rick with like the whole lyrics theme. I never thought I'd be like on the other side of Primo, but I mean, I'm running down some of RZA's tracks, and I'm like, yeah, Primo's gonna have to play this right.
I think the thing about it is too is Premier. Everybody always puts Premier on this upper level, so he's supposed to beat RZA. And so, really, RZA's the underdog here with a lot of trump cards. And like you said, if Premier doesn't play this right, because Premier has all these records that he made with all of these great people over a big span of time, right? So he has a lot of records to choose from. He could choose badly. And RZA's going to go. We know what RZA's going to go with. We know we're going to hit Cream. We know we're going to hit Ice Cream. We know we're going to hear Incarcerated Scarfaces. We know we're going to hear possibly Triumph, right? We know we're going to hear...
It's a possibility. It's really not... When I made this list, it's like Triumph is... I mean, I wrote down about 25 tracks for each guy. Like, roughly. I didn't, like, put an exact number on it, but I ended somewhere between 25 and 30 for both guys. Triumph is on the bottom end for me.
You think Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with? It's going to get played?
I do. I don't see how he doesn't play that. That might be a starter. Okay,
that might be.
I know that RZA has a lot of starters too. That's why I'm saying like it doesn't matter if he goes first or second because he has a lot of like kick your shit off type of like he does.
What should Premier kick it off with? If you don't mind me asking, what do you think Premier should kick it off?
So I want to speak to the whole Biggie J and Nas thing on the Primo track.
Okay.
Why specifically he has to do that against RZA? When I'm going through most of the RZA tracks that are getting started off that are probably going to get played, you're talking about Raekwon, Ghostface, and Method Man. So it's like he's got those guys behind the track. So it's like that group home stuff, even Guru. You get what I'm saying? Like he needs Big Nas and Jay because RZA got Ghost Ray, GZA, Meth. Like, and most of these records like Bring the Pain, Living in the World Today.
Yeah.
Shadowbox, like Glacier.
Shadowboxing.
Hey, Mac.
Fourth Chamber.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I actually was listening to Shadowboxing today, and like that might be Method Man's best verse. And I was actually thinking, is that verse better than Deck's verse on Triumph? Like, I know it gets more notoriety, but that was a ridiculously ill verse.
Which verse? Which verse?
One. I breaks it down to the bone gristle. The first one.
When I was a little kid, man, and that came out.
Yeah.
Had the Walkman. Take that joint off the radio. That was one of those verses I felt like I had to learn.
Yeah.
And it sticks with you, man. And that beat was everything. And the video.
Also, too, RZA switched up the beat pattern when GZA came in because, Meth's delivery was so silky on it. So when you're hearing the scratch go in, the scratch is going, but he's actually skipping the beat so that the GZA kind of jumps in proper. So like it's masterful on a few levels. It's just like an all-time great beat and verse, but like it's those little details again. That's what I'm saying. And RZA has a lot of that.
To speak to Method Man and where he was at that point, it just lets you know how on point he was to be on who they say is the best lyricist in the Wu-Tang solo album. And you got 2 verses on this man's song, and he got 1. And this ain't even your album.
That was a beautiful thing about Wu-Tang, though. That was a beautiful thing about Wu-Tang. Like, what is that? Faster Blade on Iron Man. Like, that's just a straight up like 48 bars from Ray with no Ghost. But it's on Ghost album. That's just like for me. I just got accustomed to Wu-Tang getting down that way, so it was always cool with me. But I feel you. Like, and that's Liquid Swords was Like, I think a lot of records from Liquid Swords may end up getting played.
The mind start to clicking. I love that part, too. It be the plot thicken. It be that Wu shit. I don't give a cop picking. Come on, man. I'm gonna play this beat if you don't mind. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, man.
Classic. That's definitely getting played. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know if Cream or Ice Cream is a better beat than this. Got heat.
Ugh.
Got heat.
And then
So I
Nasty.
was thinking, how do you want to do this? Because it's 15 beats in a beat battle. I was actually thinking, like, did you want to like pick your 15 RZA tracks and play, and I'll pick Primo tracks, or you want to pick Primo tracks?
Are we gonna do that?
How do you want to do it? Because I got tracks to pick from.
Okay. So, all right. So, say I played that first. What are you playing?
If you play shadow boxing,
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm saying when I mean we have a problem.
Yeah, man. You got to start off strong.
If you play shadow boxing, I'm gonna play Kick in the Door.
I don't think that's a win. I mean, I don't know, man.
See, that's what I mean. It's like, because I don't want to go like, that's what I'm saying. It's the first beat. We can't go like all the way in the bag.
Right. But
if
he even went.
Hold on. But here's what I mean about how he's gonna have to think about it. If you're playing shadow boxing and playing meth, I'm about to come back with somebody with a great voice and great delivery on my track, which is big. So it's like,
Yeah.
we're not. How about this? As of right now, from what I've listened to, I'm pretty certain that 10 Crack Commandments should probably be the closer, because that beat just, what, 1, 2, 3, when it comes, it's something pretty epic. So I would hold that right now. But if you're playing shadow boxing, I'm going for a Biggie track. So I'm playing Unbelievable.
Unbelievable would be a good one to play.
Unbelievable or Kick in the Door have to get played, because you're not just gonna get me with meth like
what
that.
about 1 in a Million though? You wouldn't want to do 1,000,001?
I would wait. And I actually think Rhyme No More is the better part of that record.
It is. What if I went here?
You know what I think after that? And I never thought this, and I had to go back and listen to the track today. And this is one that you may have forgot about. You know what I would play that's a really, really great beat to counteract that? I would play either MCs Act Like They Don't Know by KRS-One.
That's a good one.
I would play that one to counter that, or I would probably play Above the Clouds.
Above the Clouds is good, and I think that's another one that he should play, because you got a Wu member in there. I mean, you don't want to get totally consumed with that, but I think when you got a Wu member who was over a great beat of yours, one of my favorite, I'm going to play the instrumental, because I don't think we're going to get any violations if I play instrumental, so. Once we go to Facebook, I don't think we'll hit any violations if we do that. But yeah, this one right here, I love this track.
That's on there.
It should be. Yeah.
See, hold on. So here's what I mean about how I don't know how it's gonna go. I think that's one of Primo's best beats, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to fade RZA depending on how it falls with that. Like, because here's what I'm saying. Like, I think Royalty is a better beat than Work. But Work might actually be better for this battle, like the actual track. Are you working? What kind of work do you? Like, that might be better for this because of the nod factor. You know what I'm saying?
Now, see, the one thing with Premier that I hope he doesn't get caught, I don't think he should play a bunch of records that sound kind of similar, to have that whole Bell thing going on. I think that he needs to diversify it a little bit, kind of play some records from different time periods so they don't sound the same.
What do you think about Mathematics for Mos Def?
I love it. I was just about to suggest that.
Mathematics.
I think he should.
Yeah, I think you should.
That's a dope record. I think Common should be played too. I don't know if he will be, but
he didn't make my cut. But that's only because it's like, how about this? Like, I'm gonna tell you a record that sneaky like Preem may win. If I played Devil's Pie, what would you play for RZA?
That's a good one. Devil's Pie, RZA's comeback for that. I don't know, man. Off the top of my head, I really don't know. If you play Devil's Pie, I mean, do you go Shimmy Shimmy after that?
I got Shimmy Shimmy down. You could do that if you want.
I think you could go Shimmy Shimmy after that.
I think you're gonna lose if you do that, though. You know what I mean? Like, see, that's what I'm saying. For Like RZA got something because he had so many different MCs. He's got a little something in every chamber, you know.
Yep. And they all took such a different direction each time they came out. So it was like, hold on, let me play Shimmy Shimmy real quick. That drop though. That shit is sick, man.
He's got a lot of tracks like that too, where it's like you really don't realize how sick it is until you like remember, like, no, that was really sick.
Yeah. And then with the actual vocals with it too, like I think Old Dirty should get. I mean, I wish he made Brooklyn Zoo. That's something that I think is going to come back to haunt him in this battle. If he could actually use Brooklyn Zoo, who made that? True Master? Yeah, True Master made that. If he made that and True Master didn't, that would have been a big win for him. But not having Brooklyn Zoo, that kind of leaves him with just one Old Dirty song to play. Unless he's going to play something like, You Don't Know and stuff that's like deep in the album, and I don't think he'll do that.
He's not going to play that. A lot of cats don't remember those. And that's like kids who like loves Wu-Tang don't remember those records. So,
okay, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. This is what I have. All right, let's do 10 real quick. These are 10 that I think. Go ahead.
Give me your 10 for RZA. I'll give you my 10 Primo tracks.
My 10 for RZA, I'm going to go Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. I'm going to go Cream. I'm going to go Ice Cream. I'm going to go Incarcerated Scarfaces.
Yes.
I'm going to go Shadow Boxing.
Yeah.
Fourth Chamber. Shimmy.
So I would disagree with Fourth Chamber. I would go Killer Hills 10304 if we're picking another beat off that album. Or
META. I think META.
I'm going to tell you what. You know where, and this is what I mean. Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. RZA has so many ways to win this battle, and a lot of it is because of the interludes. Like, I'm going to tell you something. Like, you remember how Ghostface album starts off? Iron Man?
Yeah.
He could start off the battle like that with the interlude. What you doing on our turf, punk? You know what I mean? He's got interludes that can like mess with Preem and like do certain stuff. Like he could go just do the loop of In the World Today where Jizza and Meth is going back and forth. Well, what you know about MC and yo, I know a lot. Well, can you tell me straight something, nigga? I'd rather not. You talking about stacks because nigga, he could just play that part and that might send people crazy. He might just, you know what I mean? And so
he got a lot of approaches.
He has approaches to approach this. It's like Preem's kind of like a big punch boxer in this. That's what I mean. He's like a knockout artist in this, in the sense that it's like his heavy hitters are gonna have to like hammer RZA. And it's like that depends on how RZA plays it. It's like I'm gonna tell you, go ahead, keep going. I want to hear the rest of your RZA tracks because I actually want to tell you mine.
No, I was gonna say Daytona 500. It's Yours, and I think Triumph's gonna be there. That's 10.
Okay, so our back five are totally different. So I'm with you on Cream, Ice Cream, Wu-Tang Clan, Incarcerated Scarface, and Shadow Boxing. Correct? I'm with you on those. I would go to Living in the World Today off Liquid Swords. I would go with Iron Maiden instead of Daytona 500. Where else am I? I would go with Bring the Pain. I actually have a sleeper pick. Like, I don't know why, but somehow I feel like because Primo is so, like, boom bap driven and East Coast driven, I wrote down Gravel Pit with a couple of question marks.
I never liked that record.
I
did like the Jump Off, though.
I didn't like the beats of the Jump Off. I thought Gravel Pit was a step outside of RZA's box. Like, it don't sound like no Wu-Tang.
It was. Hollow Bones was crazy, but again, I think
I have Hollow Bones down, but before that, I would go the Guillotine, Poisonous Paragraph. That one, like he might start off with that. He has so many lead-ins.
I could see that being played. I could see like for real, like 4 joints off the Purple Tape being played.
I was about to say because I have Glaciers of Ice down too, so it's like
Glaciers of Ice is fucking crazy. I hope he plays Glaciers of Ice. I really.
He can start off with that. Rap Maya Lansky, Crash Your Fantasy. Like, he could start off with that. That's what I'm saying. It's like when I started going.
That would be a great start off.
he has a lot of, and these are tracks that if you ever MC'd, it's like these are like cream of the crop MC tracks from both sides. But it's like RZA's got something going on. Like, yeah. So
I think he's the. I still think he's the underdog because Premier is Premier, and for a lot of people,
Primo.
Premier is the greatest hip hop producer of all time, right?
Hey, sleeper pick too. RZA did Tres Leches off Capital Punishment with Deck and Prodigy.
Oh, okay.
That's RZA. That was like when I was digging one of those sleeper picks. I was like, yeah, I like that record. Like, I like that track.
Well, I think he's gonna play the Long Kiss Goodnight too.
That was the other one. I didn't know if he was going to do that though, because here's the
It's
thing.
Biggie. He's gonna do it.
Okay, and that's when you're going to hear 10 Crack Commandments.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be one where he's losing. Hey, shout out to your daughter back there. She keeps getting in the say hey to everybody out there, the Court of Hip Hop Land.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something funny. Like, I'm such a head, and it's funny how things change through a generation. She's more into pop music. Like, she's really not even a big fan of rap. That's part of why I asked her to, like, come down here. Like, how about this, Mike? I was her age when Enter the Wu-Tang came out. Like, you know what I mean? First of all, I never let her listen to something like Enter the Wu-Tang.
yeah, of course not.
But second of all, like, she just doesn't have, like, the aesthetic for it. Like, every year, like, the last time we had a rap conversation was when Travis Scott dropped Astro World. And I was like, that might be album of the year, Si. She was like, I was like, what about Stargazing? She was like, no, Stargazing's, you know. I was like, okay.
Stargazing is universal, man.
Yeah. Stargazing's universal. Because she was like, even the kids at school were talking about Stargazing all the time. I'm like, that's a banger, Si. It's a whole banger.
It is. I was listening to it today. Actually, I was listening to Astro World today.
It's timeless. It is.
Yeah. And in today's time, it's really tough to come across a timeless record. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think Premier's haymakers are? Like, name 5, just knocking them out the box, Premier tracks that he's got to play in this battle.
Got to play Come Clean.
Okay.
That's a must. New York State of Mind is a must. 10 Crack Commandments is a must. Those 3 are must. I actually think he needs to play You Know My Steez. I listened to that record today. That sounds great.
So you don't think Mass Appeal?
How about this? Here's how I feel about Mass Appeal. Mass Appeal is actually that point where Primo goes from a really good producer to like a really great one, an all-time great one. And I don't know if that's going to hold up against RZA in this battle. But I love Mass Appeal personally. I don't know how well it's going to serve him in this battle unless he pulls it out for nostalgia purposes.
Well, he got that in his bag because, you know, a lot of people go for their biggest one on the last round. And in the 20th round, I think we could all say that, okay, RZA might hold on to Cream until the end. What beat would you say the Premier is going to hold on to until the end?
I mean, when I look at this, it's the beats that I just named. It's Come Clean, the 10 Crack Commandments, and New York State of Mind. Those are
Between those, I might have to say New York State of Mind might have made the biggest statement.
Yes. I mean, because how about this? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, New York State of Mind is really the first time Primo worked outside of Gang Starr. Like, really worked out. Like, and when I mean Gang Starr, I mean they had a camp and a crew of people around them, like OC, J. Rue, like all those guys. And he was he got down with digging in the crates and all that. But I mean, when he jumped on Illmatic was the first time that you really heard Primo outside of his camp. And I mean, that was a hell of a way to like kind of start off like, you know, your independent production career for certain. So I think that's there. But that's what I mean. Like, RZA has so many, like, that's what I mean. I could see Primo getting forced into playing joints earlier than he wants. It's like if the 6th or 7th track, RZA drops his Incarcerated Scarface, it's like he may have to drop Come Clean or New York State of Mind to win.
This is what I will say. And like I said, I feel like, you know, let me go ahead and put it out there. I'm going for RZA in this. I'm a Wu-Tang fan or whatever.
Me too.
I think that RZA's the underdog in this.
And that's funny.
But he doesn't have any room for error. Premier does, because Premier has so much stuff and so many different directions he can go and he can recover. If RZA plays 1 or 2 tracks that we're like, why did he play that? He doesn't have much room to recover. In the same way that Manny did. Because I feel like there were some tracks that Manny played, and I was like, why did he play that? Like Big Things Poppin', why did he play that?
I don't know. That's like my least favorite T.I. single ever.
Ever. I didn't, you know what? I'm going to keep it real. I didn't even know Manny made it. And when I heard it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Why'd you play that? Like,
Yeah. No,
Cash Money is an Army should have been played over that.
the definite. That's a definite that should have been played over that. See, here's what I'm saying though, like, like Primo has like the deeper catalog, so he has more margin for error, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say Mass Appeal were to lose, he can go play So What's Up.
Mm-hmm.
He has more room for error. He can still go play Dwick. I like Dwick. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like keep in mind, like I didn't even list those. Like most of the stuff that I listed is like 94 and beyond. I mean, he got stuff before that. But here's where RZA really can and real win. If he literally sticks to Enter the Wu-Tang, Cuban Links, Liquid Swords, and Iron Man, like
Yep.
if he stays in those 4 albums, oh no, he's got a great chance of winning. He should not be considered. I mean, it should look like the poster says it's King Kong versus Godzilla. Really don't know who's coming out.
Well, see, where RZA could possibly mess up is his solo album, the Bobby Digital album, doesn't have
Not one.
those records.
Not
But he
one.
might, as you know, because it's his record, he might want to dig into that one and start playing stuff, and that's going to throw him off. Because Manny did that too, and I like that record that Manny played, and I keep bringing up the Manny battle because RZA's in a very Manny Fresh situation where a bulk of his work is with his camp and his solo efforts. But Manny played that Real Big song.
Hey, when you say
I liked it, but it wasn't a hit.
Hey, when you say that, I just really realize how great RZA is. Because I mean, as much as I love Manny, it's not fair to put Manny in a category with RZA. Because one of the things that I've noticed today is that I don't think anybody's executive produced more hip hop classics except for maybe Dr. Dre, other than RZA, if we're talking full scale albums. Like,
Yeah.
I realized he handled most of the Purple Tape by himself too, production wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like production wise, that album, I mean, and Liquid Swords and Iron, like that's almost all him.
And he did it in such a small window of time. I think Kanye West is there too. I would say Dre, RZA, and Kanye. I give Kanye a lot of credit for the blueprint because, in my personal opinion, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I feel like the blueprint's whole approach was the brainchild of Kanye West. I've heard Just Blaze records before the blueprint. They didn't sound anything like that. I feel like when Kanye came with "This is what we're gonna do," because "This Can't Be Life" was already in that kind of vein anyway. And when Kanye started bringing those records like "Heart of the City," "Izzo," "Never Change," I think Just was like, okay, well that's what I got to do, and that's how the blueprint came to being what it is.
I mean, can I just say something right quick, especially since we're actually talking about him, since his name is headlining on the big beat battle next to Primo. If you really want to know the truth, the blueprint to me sounds like Just and Kanye was jocking RZA style real hard. And that's why it sounds so great. And Just Blaze did the better tracks on the album. So
He
like,
did. I will never deny that. I think Just Blaze makes it best.
So here's what I'm saying. When I mean executive produced classics, it's like, yeah, Kanye's executive produced like his classics, like, but he really hasn't executive produced anybody else's classic except for B by Common. Unless I'm mistaken, unless I'm missing something. All the other classics fall under his belt. Like, RZA got classics with this artist, that with the crew. Like, that's different. That's the same thing with Dre. Dre got his classic, but he got Snoop's classic. He got M's classic. He got 50 classic.
He got NWA classic.
Like, if you're the firm album, like.
Yeah, Dre has, his name is
that's
on.
That's not counting the NWA stuff. Like, oh my God. That's like
his name is on Straight Outta Compton, Niggas for Life, The Chronic, Doggy Style. His name is on All Eyes on Me. I don't know how much he did on there.
Marshall LP. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. Executive production.
Executive production. His name's on that. His name's on the documentary Get Rich or Die Trying. It's on Good Kid, Mad City.
That's 8. That's 9.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mike, we didn't even talk about 2001. That's 10.
Oh yeah, I forgot about 2000. How can I forget about 2001? Yeah.
I think the beats on 2001 are better than the beats on the Chronic. That's one of the reasons why I tell you Doggy Style's better than me. But
I think 2001, if we're going to get into that conversation, since we're talking about production, I think 2001 is one of the best produced hip hop albums I've ever heard. One of the best produced albums I've ever heard, period.
If we're just talking
Somebody
beats.
said Compton. Y'all like the Compton album? How, you know what? Let's talk about that. Did you like the Compton album?
If anybody other than Dr. Dre made it, yeah.
This is the thing. A friend of mine, Will Corbin, shout out to him. He made this. Well, I don't say made this term. I'm sure the term's been around, but it was the first time I ever heard the term of something being overproduced. I think we were talking about "Suit and Tie" by Justin Timberlake with Jay-Z, and he said, you know, that song sounds overproduced. And I laughed because I was like, that sounds like you just being overcritical. But then I heard the Compton album, and I was like, this is what overproduced sounds like.
Mm.
They were doing way too much on that album. It sounded like, I'm not even, no disrespect, and it was done well, I guess, but it sounded like an episode of Empire to me.
Wow.
It sounded like a production to the point where it was like almost showy. You know what I mean?
Respectful, Mike. That was real.
All the way down to the vocals. The vocals sound extra animated. Even the song with Snoop sounded like Snoop was being the caricature of Snoop. It was almost like Dr. Dre was in there directing these guys to, you know, inflect things a certain way to the point where it was perfect, but it was perfection to the point where it wasn't raw anymore. You know what I'm saying?
There's something about it that does not feel genuine or organic. I relate to that.
It's theatrical.
Here's how I feel about literally the majority of that album, with the exception of the last song, Diary. Diary is the best song by far to me, and Animals, co-produced by DJ Premier. Like, those two records are like classics, but everything on that album to me just feels like put together and rushed. Mm-hmm. And like, those are two things that you never associate with Dr. Dre. And that's what I mean. Yeah, if anybody else from the West Coast made that album, I'd probably love it. But it's like, what do we have to go off of? Like, listen to the 10 classics we just listed? That's the
that's why we're never gonna get the Detox, because he's going up against too much. And see, I think that this Compton album was a bit of a cop out to promote the movie.
We don't even know what Detox is. Like, Detox was getting made when Rakim was still signed to Aftermath. Like, who's the?
You know, I have a theory. I have a theory about the Detox, and not in tinfoil kufi time, I guess. But I feel like the Detox was never going to come out. The Detox was just talk to keep us interested in whatever artist Aftermath had coming down the pipeline. And the talk every time people came out, whether it was 50, Game, whoever was, oh, I gave them beats from the Detox. And so it was part of a marketing ploy.
He dropped I Need a Doctor, and that shit was not.
Not at all.
It's not a good record.
No. There was another record that he dropped. Do you remember a song with, what was it, Nate Dogg, Akon, and Snoop? You know what song? What song was that?
Play back. Play back. I faded to black after I Need a Doctor. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I knew. Kush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on iTunes. That was good.
Yeah. But see, I think that, he agrees with me. Yeah, Detox was smoke and mirrors just to keep us interested in Dr. Dre and everything that Dr. Dre was about. Because how else is he going to keep us interested? He had to actually have something out there that we were possibly waiting for. I don't think there was any real plan for the Detox to actually ever come out.
Well, if he played a shell game with us, he definitely won, because, I mean, we all followed and waited.
We did.
Like, he did the right thing. If that's the case, that's good business if that's what he did and he succeeded.
Because you know what's funny? Whenever we start hearing about the Beats by Dre and the headphones came and that company was what it was, we stopped hearing the Detox talk. So I got y'all forever now. I got the headphones now.
These are facts, too. It also could have been that lukewarm reception to Compton, though. You know, Dre's very sensitive, you know?
Well, see, he put out Compton mad quick, though. That's what makes me feel like there was really no point for Detox, because he didn't care about perfecting Compton. I mean, I think that he went in there and put in work for it, but Banana Tail, yeah, we all fell for it. But yeah.
But did somebody say banana in the tailpipe? Did somebody say banana in the tailpipe?
Yeah,
Real talk.
Dre got us.
Feels cop.
But
Yeah.
in the meantime, we got the Game. You know, if he told me that he gave the Game most of his records from the Detox, I would believe that.
I
But
mean, how many tracks did he do on the documentary? Like 5?
let me be accurate here.
Don't worry.
While we're looking for that stuff, do you
How
think
we can,
Dr. Dre would dominate people in one of these IG battles? Is it even fair to put him up there?
after going through RZA's track listing and DJ Premier being on this other side, nobody's safe, including Dre. Scott
I
Storch
think,
already played some bangers. Can't play those
yeah.
again.
Well, that's true, and that's the thing too. I wish that we
Hold
could
on.
see
Hold
a
on.
winner. Go ahead.
And understand this too. And here's what I mean about the Chronic. And it's kind of like the same thing with Preem. Dre and Preem are so early with it, with their greatness, that it's like a lot of those records that are their better produced records. It's like, how about this? If Dr. Dre's doing a beat battle, is he gonna play funky enough by the DLC? Because if he does that, he's gonna lose to somebody else as great as that record and that beat is for its time and its era. He's not gonna win nothing with that against nobody else like RZA or Preem, Mike.
Mm.
So
I think
and believe it or not, there's a lot of tracks on the Chronic that if you were to put it up against some of these Primo tracks, some of these RZA tracks, I mean, we know what he's winning. He's winning nothing but a G thing. We know that. But after that, you're going to have to go to everybody else's projects.
shout out to Chris P. Davis down there, and he brought up Puffy. I feel like Puff is more like Dre than people give him credit for. He works with production teams, you
You're blowing
know?
smoke, Mike.
Huh?
So you're blowing smoke.
I'm not. I'm not saying he's on Dre's level, but I'm saying as far as being an executive producer and us not knowing exactly what he does, they're both arrangers, right? I feel like they're both producers in a traditional sense. And if we're talking about traditional sense, like a Quincy Jones, right? They're putting together this team of people who's going to put together this record. Like Dre was putting together Daz, Warren G, you know, whoever else.
Hold on.
But Puff
That's
did
what I'm
that
saying.
too with the Hitman.
Hold on. But that's what I'm saying. And listen to me when I'm saying this. Was he putting them together, or were they helping him put everything together on the back end? Because when you go listen to Warren G's first album, and you know that he was there for a lot of the sessions for the Chronic, he had input on that album. Same with Daz. Like, they helped Dre with the Chronic.
But that stuff without Dre doesn't sound anywhere near that stuff.
Fair.
I mean, and we could say the same thing about anybody who stepped away from Bad Boy, with the exception of Easy Mo B. This stuff doesn't sound like there's a quality.
Easy Mo was around before Bad Boy and Puff, though. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not counting Easy Mo. I'm not counting him. I'm talking about the rest of the Hitmen. Because Easy Mo, he's another one. He was one of the first guys who was doing beats for everybody. He didn't belong to anybody.
Hey, you want to know about
he was on Big and Pac's album. Like
talking Hitman, Nasheem Myrick. Nasheem Myrick's got. I'm live. Write it down.
The Hitmen, they got it, man. Like they got a team over there. Or had a team over there.
Stevie J, Nasheem Myrick. I used to run into Stevie J down here, like before the Love and Hip Hop thing. We knew some of the same people. Yeah, they were dope. So,
well, Stevie J made, obviously, Notorious Thugs, one of my favorites, but I think that Mariah Carey Breakdown song is his best piece of work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that record. Yeah,
that's a great record. We put up a poll today about Bone Thugs and Migos, right? About if it was a IG Live battle, hit for hit, who would win? And I think a lot of people are caught up in the nostalgia of Bone. And no disrespect to Bone, obviously they're better rappers than the Migos. But hit for hit, let's not act like that's a ridiculous notion. Migos got a lot of hits.
They do. And I think, Crossroads is one of those epic all-time great hip-hop records. It's like Dear Mama, Nothing But a G Thing, I'll Be There For You, One More Chance. It's up there. And so sometimes I think people think that they made more hits than they actually did. But, like that record is a bigger record than anything Migos has ever done. But like after that, Migos could probably go toe to toe. Yeah.
Bad and Boujee was pretty big.
It's not bigger than Crossroads.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I
Mike,
don't know.
Mike,
I don't know.
Crossroads gets played on like soft, easy listening stations during the midday sometime.
Don't know, man. Bad and Boujee was huge. Like I remember when Bad and Boujee was out, it was everywhere. Like people that you didn't even think would even know. It made the Migos a household name.
Hold on. Hey, I'm going to tell you something, actually. I didn't realize how big the Migos were until one day I had got off work early. I went and grabbed this one and her cousin, and Bad and Boujee came on the radio, and I'm riding and I'm singing, and I'm looking in the back, and they like this, and they singing, and I was like, oh, they got it like that. They got me and they got my kids. That was probably the first time that happened, where a record from down here came out, and I was in the front singing, and they were in the back singing. That was the record.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere I've been. Like I think we were going to Miami a lot during that period, and it was people that you wouldn't even think would know a Migos song, because the Migos had a lot of stuff before that we knew were hits, like Fight Night, stuff like that, little local stuff. But people knew every single word of Bad and Boujee. Bad and Boujee was huge. Bad and Boujee not only made the Migos a household name, but it made Offset a star. Like, to the point we're talking about right now. Like, I don't even think he'd be married to Cardi B right now if it wasn't for that record. That's a big record.
See, I mean, and we always talk about how big that record is, but Bad and Boujee is still not even the best single on that album to me. Like, it's the bigger song, but T-Shirt's the classic.
They got a lot of stuff, man. They make a lot of music, and I think it's hard when you compare people in this generation that put in as much work as them, because people put out like 2 or 3 projects every year for the most part, and that's not to mention like the stuff that the Migos got, like the SoundCloud Migos. Because I always tell people, you got 2 different groups. You got the SoundCloud Migos, and you got the Migos that's on the radio. Because I'll go to my SoundCloud, right, where they actually develop like a radio station based on something you're listening to. I'll be hearing new Migos songs all the time. I'm like, it's old stuff. And stuff that they never put out, stuff that they never pushed. And yeah, man, people just make a lot of music nowadays. And when you make a lot of music, you have a bigger chance of just having a lot of hits. People don't even remember like that they put out that Dab song. That was huge too.
Yeah, that was
like they don't even think about Dab. Bando.
Like they've been bubbling for a minute. They hadn't made anything like Bad or Boujee yet, but they were making some, They
a hit battle.
They were carving out their niche. But hold on, let's get back.
I love Bone. Bone cooled out around Art of War, dog. Like, I mean, Creeping on the Come Up was the shit. I love For the Love of Money, Thuggish Ruggish Bone. East 99 was the apex. That was everything.
I mean,
but Art of War, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling. I love the stuff they did on soundtracks was crazy. Days of Our Lives, Shoot 'Em Up.
Shoot 'Em Up. Yeah, almost made me drink.
What was the one Everyday Thing that was on the show soundtrack?
Actually, hey, if you want to know the truth, that's my favorite Bone record. Actually,
that might be one of my favorites too.
That's my favorite record. I can remember me and my homeboy Tremaine. We were chilling in Boulevard Homes when that album came out, and we were playing it, and we ain't have nothing to do, and we literally called the radio station all day, like asking to hear that record.
That shit was hypnotizing, man. I mean, that actually started me of taping stuff off the radio, because I was waiting for that song, and in the middle of waiting for that song to come on, I ended up taping like Juicy from Biggie and all that other stuff before I actually got to it. Mac 10, For Life, and all that, but.
For Life, that was the same summer. That was all that same time. For Life.
That was the same summer. For Life was the shit. That shit was hard. Okay, well, all right. Well, since we're talking about that, 2 Chainz, he tried to call out some folks. Well, he said South versus everybody, right? And he said that he would like to do an Instagram Live battle, track for track, with Meek Mill. Do you think that's a good matchup for him? Like, does Meek doesn't have enough for 2 Chainz as far as I'm concerned?
I mean, I like both of them as artists. I don't love either one of them, but I really like and respect both of them, what they bring to the table. You know, Meek's a street dude. I even like a lot of the stuff Meek's been dropping lately. Glow Up is his best record to me. I love Glow Up by Meek. Um, 2 Chainz is fun. He's good for rap. I've always said that. Like 2 Chainz, like hip hop needs characters like 2 Chainz because 2 Chainz has a personality and charisma, and he likes to have fun, and that's important in the specter of hip hop. But I don't think a lot of people understand 2 Chainz been out since he was Titty Boy, like before even BT.
Got a lot of shit, man.
He's got a lot of stuff, and
And he's the kind of character.
He's done so many guest shots.
Mm-hmm.
Even the stuff on the album with him and Wayne, like, I mean, 2 Chainz can rap. I mean, I don't think of Wayne the way necessarily everybody else does, because a lot of people think he's the best MC ever, or you know, for his time. But like, you know, there is something to be said about him holding his own with Wayne on that album, though. So it would be interesting to see. I think that's one of those things that fans would be more interested in it than I am. You know, which kind of brings me to like a segue, something like, you know, you and I have been talking, and I think a lot of people think that we haven't been showing the younger generation like enough love, you know. And one thing I wanted to say that we've talked about is like, Mike and I have talked a long time about, according to hip hop, being an avenue for new artists to break themselves into the game. Now, you're sitting in one part of Atlanta. I'm sitting in another part of Atlanta, but we got following all around this nation. And Atlanta's not even one of our top 3 markets, correct, Mike?
Yeah. New York, Houston. I think Atlanta might be top 5, but yeah. We're all over the place. Shout out to everybody, man. All areas around. I just did that interview with Oaklanta. They were out there.
I was cooking dinner, but I caught some of it in between. I actually liked them. They were super personable. They had questions for you.
Right.
I saw that. They was
like, hey, this ain't about me.
and they checked you too. But I like what they did too. So they checked you. They made sure that you had actually had their shit and listened to it. They was like, you got an album? You're like, I got it right here. They tried.
I was listening to it. I always make sure I keep my word and listen to stuff, especially when people send it.
Well, no, I want to say this. Like, send us your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't. Like, first of all, I want this generation to understand something, like the younger generation. I had a conversation, and, you know, I was down on the south side. I mean, you was on the phone with me, like, you heard what I heard. Mm-hmm. And you know, pretty much, you know, one of the homies is 10 years younger than me. He was like, Coop, I know who Outkast is because my uncles and my big cousins put me on the Outkast. Like, most of these young niggas down here my age, they don't know who Outkast is. Like, y'all got to talk about the stuff that they can relate to. And that's fair. But the first thing I want to say, if that's going on, y'all are the first generation not to know y'all's history of the great artists that have come before you in the region that you come from. So if you're not familiar with the great artists in your region that come before you, you need to get acquainted with them because that's part of this culture. Like, they would be the first generation to not be privy to the guys that came before them. Like Andre said, like on ATL, is I grew up on Booty Shake. We did not know no better things. But he referenced where it came from for him. You know?
But you know what? I mean, I can understand it because
go ahead.
When stuff is like a generation before you, you can appreciate it, but you're not going to be into it as much as the people who were there, you know? Like, as much as, you know, I don't want to name individual artists, but, you know, you get it. It's like especially in rap, it's different when you're talking about, like, soul, R&B, and stuff that your parents listen to or whatever. But in rap, styles change so much that stuff that a certain generation might have thought was the shit, another generation is like, that's primitive. I mean, we could kind of look at basketball, right? Because I was having this whole debate about these teams that people put up. People put up an 80s team and people put up a 2000s team.
I just commented.
And there's this notion that people who watched a 2000s players, is this notion that they're faster and quicker and stronger than the players from the 80s, which isn't necessarily true. You just feel like that because all you saw was replays and you weren't watching it live. So it's just different, you know? Like, you can't expect a certain generation to really gravitate to that stuff.
So meet me somewhere in the middle with this. If we're sitting down and we're going through the greatest verses of all time, and you're from down here in Atlanta, and you're 25 years old, I don't expect you to know about maybe necessarily Children's Story by Slick Rick. that might be asking too much of you. Because I even told the story about how I'm privy to Slick Rick and even those guys from the era that were before me when I was literally too young to be listening to this stuff.
Right.
But for a cat that's down here that's 25 years old to not know what a Clemeni is and not know who Andre 3000 is, it's like you can excuse that if you want to, but I'm not about to. That's not okay. Like, that's going too far. And that's where, I mean, there's a line where some of these younger cats, like, yeah, we need to be giving y'all some more love and some more burn, and hopefully you'll send us your music so that we can give you some burn and some run. Because here's the thing about it. They don't understand that it's like, yeah, we can put you up here, but the people got to decide, like, how hot is your shit? Is your business together? Are you ready to be interviewed by Mike? Are you ready me to have pop up and talk shit? Because, you know, I mean, I be sitting in the threads on these cuts like you want to know what? Yep. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I say that to say all those things come into play too. But, you know, we want to formally say that we're going to try to do a better job about creating topics that the younger generation can relate to more. And also, like, send us your shit. I mean, what is it, Mike? I mean, you had 800,000 followers between Facebook, Instagram, and the app.
Yeah, easy.
And that's 800,000 people that ain't been hearing your shit that's about to hear your shit. So
yeah, and we're down to do it. You know what I'm saying?
We're down to do it.
That's what the platform was built for in the first place. It was to actually be able to bridge the gap between the fans and the artists. You know what I mean? And cut out all the bullshit and the excuse my language. Cut out all the middleman stuff, right? So yeah, just send your stuff over, man. And you know, we might not get to it immediately. The Facebook page is According to Hip Hop, According the number 2 Hip Hop. But yeah, we might not get to it immediately because obviously we have a lot of people to send us a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I would appreciate if you would just send your hottest record as opposed to sending a whole album, because we probably won't be able to get to all of those things. So it'd be best if you send that one track that you think is it.